Well, hello there, guys. Welcome to Storytime. Ooh, this one is a little bit of a sci fi situation. It's real strange. There was a guy, we're going to name him Bob. He was a person that really believed in a lot of the esoteric things. He looked into everything, the meaning of the I on the American dollar bill. He was into a lot of things that the average person was not into. Well, he came here to the Dominican Republic where I live, more specifically, in the same town that I live in called Sosua. And Bob came here because he wanted to conduct tests on the stars. He's the type of person that likes to look at the pattern of the stars and also the weather and the climate. And he thought here would be the perfect place to do it. So he got some people to invest in his idea, and he came here and got himself a place up in the mountains where he could build something like a lookout deck, if you will, but yet be close to the water. And he stayed there for a while, at least 2 years. When the funding stopped, he didn't know what to do with himself. He started to go stir crazy. So he decided that he was going to use that villa slash lookout point as something like an observation hotel. Well, his idea didn't really work out well. He didn't know how to do the promotion very well. And so the place started to fall apart. In the meantime, he met himself a beautiful woman. Now, this woman, she was from the Dominican Republic as well. She knew that Bob was a little eccentric. Now, even though the funding ran out, Bob still had a good amount of money of his own. He wasn't a broke pocket man at all. And so, he thought to himself, hey, he might as well fix up his place. He might as well just cool max and relax and still watch the stars and still develop whatever pattern he was trying to get and put it down and document it. And eventually, like Nikola Tesla, he would show the world his operation, his idea, his genius encounter with the stars and how it will change the world. Well, in the meantime, he obviously wanted to have some type of a companion. So this woman, she owned a colmado in the town that he lived in. He asked me not to talk about the town that he lived in. And so she lived in that town and she owned a colmado. A colmado is like a corner store. And so she would go and deliver stuff to him, like food and groceries. And one day he asked her to sit down with him and, have a glass of wine and just look at the stars. And he thought to himself, there's something he's missing about the pattern. He needed to ask a native here, like a local here, exactly about the stars and the certain patterns and if she's ever noticed anything. So he sat down with her and he was amazed when she started to tell him different things about the climate, different things about each part of the year and the birds in the area and the bugs in the area and also the stars. And he was so amazed. He fell in love with this woman, and it wasn't before long that he was taking care of her, her colmado, and her entire family. Eventually, he started to get tired of doing that because she wasn't giving him as much information any longer about the stars. And not only that, she grew bored of sitting with him. So instead of sitting with him every night and having a glass of wine and looking up at the stars and talking about the universe, she started to just ask him for money. And also, he started to think to himself that she had another man, a different gringo, a different foreigner in town. So what did he do? Well, he did what a lot of people do back in the day: look for messages by playing the recordings backwards. Have you ever heard of people that would play like a Led Zeppelin song or oh, what are they called? The Beatles song. And there's a message in the record when you play it backwards. Well, that's what he did. He would start recording her messages. And it is said that when you talk, your subconscious is speaking the truth. So if you're lying as you're speaking, your subconscious will actually say a completely different sentence when the words are played backwards. Isn't that fascinating? Now, there is no proof to this, but it has been kind of proven a few times with a lot of conspiracy theories around the world. Okay, so what happened was he started to record her messages to him on WhatsApp. And she would say, "Hi, darling." And he spoke perfect Spanish, by the way, fluently. He taught himself. And she would say, "Hi, darling. Hola, amor. I can't come up to the conservatory today." That's what he called it, the Outlook deck. And she was like, "I can't come up today, but I will get my nephew to deliver the stuff to you. And I will see you in a few days. Do you think you can send some money with my nephew?" Now, he had his money stashed on the property itself. She didn't even know where it was. He had it buried, and he would go and he would get the money from where it's at, but he would never let anyone see him getting it. So he didn't keep his money in the bank at all. He didn't trust banks, and he still doesn't. I'm speaking about him in the third, like in the past tense, because he actually requested that. I'm not sure why. He's a little eccentric, but he would always keep his money hidden. And so he started to give the money, and he was like, "Okay, you know what? She's busy. She's busy." But then he started to do a little bit of different things on YouTube. And he ran across my videos. He ran across Storytime. He ran across Sosua. He ran across different things because he wanted to start talking to people, expats and other locals, about what they were seeing in the stars. He wanted to go on Facebook as well to look at stargazers, if anybody was interested in looking at the cosmos. So on Facebook, he also found me there again. And then he also found me again on Google. So then he contacted me. And he's like, "You know what? I wonder, it seems like you write astrology and it seems like you're interested in the cosmos. Would you ever be interested in coming to my place and helping me promote this to people?" And of course, I was a little skeptical, and of course, I was also a little busy. I said to him, "Is it okay if I bring a few people with me?" And he's like, "Well, initially, I'd rather you come alone. And then, I can tell you exactly what it's all about, and, you can tell me what you think, and then after that, we can just kind of get to know each other, and then we can start promoting it." And, as a single woman here, it sounded great to go and get out of the town and get up into the mountains and look at this conservatory deck and really, spend the night in this beautiful place that he says he has. But I could never be too careful. So I declined the offer, of course. And he said to me, "Well, you can trust me." And he sent me a lot of his works in the past, and he sent me some of his colleagues' information, and he told me that I can contact some of his colleagues to see if he is legit. And I did, but I only contacted two of them. And the first two said that, well, although he's a great scientist and although he's very good at what he does, he's a little bit desperate right now, and he has been acting these days a little erratic and kind of going off the rails, and they would suggest that I wouldn't go there by myself. He's never given them any reason to think that he is a little bit more than eccentric, but at the same time, they would think it would always just be safe for a single woman that is going all the way up into those mountains to have at least some type of a crew with her. And I thought it was only logical for me to have a crew with me as well. After all, I do have a television show and I can bring a camera crew with me anywhere I go. And so I told him this. I said, listen, I have a camera crew. I can bring 3 people with me and we can bring cameras, lighting, everything. And we can document this. And he was set against it. He said, absolutely not. There's no way that will ever happen. So I had to once again decline. It was months later that he contacted me with a story time, and this is it. So what he did was he started to record his lady backwards, all of her messages, and all of them, when they recorded backwards, came back with little metaphorical messages. The first one said, I'm scamming you. So she was asking him for money for her grandmother. And then when he played the message back, it said, I'm scamming you. Now, of course, when the message is played back, it doesn't sound like I'm scamming you. It sounds like I'm scamming you. Like that. Like, I'm scamming you. Sounds very strange and very robotic, and it doesn't sound like the tone that we would speak in, like an even, calm tone. Go ahead and Google it yourself. Go on YouTube and plug in backwards speaking, and you will see that it does sound a little bit warped. That's the word for it. Warped words, warped speaking. But it does clearly sound, when he sent me the audios, it did clearly sound like she said, I am scamming you. And another one, it said, this man's a fool. And another one, it said, he will never learn. And another one, it said, I can get it all. And it goes on and on. Not one of them ever said, I feel sorry for him, or I feel sorry for what I'm doing. Not one message actually had a positive message to it. So he went down to the Colorado, something that he never used to do because he didn't have a vehicle and he had to walk all the way down the hill. And he didn't really like walking down hills or walking up hills. He wasn't very active, and he just sat a lot and got everything delivered to him. So he decided he was going to take all of the recordings down to the Colorado. And he got down to the Colorado, and right there, sitting in front of him, was his girlfriend beside another foreigner. Now, just because there was another foreigner, it didn't mean it was her boyfriend. But his sixth sense, his intuition, which was also very strong from meditating and just always being in his delta state of mind, was very, very sensitive. So he looked at her, and right away, actually, the foreigner did get up, and the foreigner said, okay, I'll talk to you later. Now, the foreigner must have seen photos of this guy or must have heard about this guy, and this guy Bob told me also that his girlfriend jumped up right away, and she was like, Bob, what are you doing here? So he sat down with her and decided to freak her out. What he did was he played those recordings for her. It didn't sound like her voice being played backwards. It just sounded like some cryptic messages. And he said to her, these are aliens, and they have been spying on you. And they've been telling me what you have been doing. You have a boyfriend, and you have been taking money from me. You think I'm a fool, and you think you're going to take everything from me. And she looked at him because she knew he was always in the cosmos and into the sky stuff. And she knew that he always had recordings of different things, like up in the mountains, of the different birds and the different sounds. And she was freaked out to the point where she just backed up And she admitted it. She admitted that she's been using him for every single cent, that she does have a man, and she apologized. She took so much money from him, there's no way she could pay it back, but he was just more than happy to know that the truth came out. He wanted me to also say, don't mess with a nerd, because nerds will always get to the bottom of everything. Guys, that was a little sci fi for you on this wonderful day of story time. Take care of yourselves. If you like this type of story, please go ahead and subscribe for free. I'd like to thank you all that have subscribed already and tune in every Sunday for story time. I'm located in the Dominican Republic, more specifically in Sosua. So if you'd like to come for a visit, give me a shout. I help people with relocation consultations, travel, tourism, even a pickup from the airport, rentals, and real estate. If you'd like to be a guest on my television show, Living Good, let me know when you're in town and you can come be a special guest on my show. Take care, everyone. Enjoy your day. Huge hugs, loads of love, big blessings. Be good to yourself out there.